Okay, hello there, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. J Cherry here. Hope you guys are doing well out there in the COVID world of you can't make this stuff up. I don't even know if I should say that word because that always ends up getting my videos to go like drop down or I'm going to get kicked off of Facebook being one of the platforms. But all the platforms right now are just, very difficult for getting information out there. But all of this is out there on the mainstream. So I just wanted to talk about it. So that picture that I had up there just a minute ago, I'm going to pull it back up because I have it in my system too. You can't make this up. This is coming out of the California Office of the Governor to minimize your risk for COVID. That in between eating, do you pull your mask on? You pull your mask up. Do you pull your mask? So how does that work? So you're eating, right? And so what if you're blowing on some soup, right? If you got some hot soup and you're going to blow on some soup and your mask is under your chin, like how do you navigate doing this? Like who came up with this? Who on earth came up with this? I mean, like, this is the theater of the absurd. Except the problem is that unfortunately, it's not absurd. Because it's actually happening. I mean, this is actually a thing happening right now in our world. This was tweeted out by the Office of the Governor in California. So, I mean, like, I don't know. It gets stranger and stranger as you go. Sorry, bear with me, guys, as I'm just dealing with a technical glitch here as I'm getting, trying to share this video out. But I have another really strange, let me lower this for you guys here. So I have another really strange video that I want to share with you. This is out of Chicago. This is Mayor Lightfoot. Maybe some of you guys have seen this. If not, you're going to be in for a bizarre experience. So let me pull up that screen and get this ball rolling here. So let me get her up here when you get a full view. Okay, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play a part of it. Here we go. Mayor Lightfoot.
So guess what we're here to talk about today? Good afternoon, everyone, and happy October 1st. I'd like to begin by acknowledging my partner in crime, Dr. Allison Artery, the Commissioner of Public Health. And thanks to the sufficient progress we've made in the fight against COVID-19, earlier this week we announced that we begin easing some phase 4 restrictions on our businesses, which starts today. And though we still have a long way to go on our recovery journey, we're able to take these steps forward based on the science of this disease and thanks to the partnership and collaboration of our businesses and residents. And it's for that same reason that today we're also able to announce some of our exciting plans for the week of Halloween. We all know that this holiday means for our kids and adults, especially now, after so much has been taken away over this past year. It's important to me and to parents across Chicago that we give our kids something to look forward to. But in order for us to do that, we need to do it in the right way. That means doing it in a way that's safe to kids' health and the health of our entire city. First things first, I want to address the thing that's on everyone's mind, and that, of course, is trick-or-treating. First off, trick-or-treating is allowed, but with some rules, which Dr. Arty will explain in a moment. But here's the bottom line. You can only meet in groups of 6 or less, and you have to stay moving. We must simply avoid congregating in front of houses, on streets. Keep it moving, folks. People passing out candy are also asked to try to maintain social distancing while doing so. I'm sure people will come up with some very inventive ways to hand out candy and maintain social distancing. And finally, Halloween or not, the rules about personal gatherings are still in place. That means no parties, and traditional haunted houses simply cannot be allowed. But Halloween in Chicago won't just be about trick-or-treating this year. As I mentioned earlier, we really want to give our kids something to look forward to. That's why we are proud to announce an entire week of safe and healthy Halloween-related activities here in Chicago we're calling Hallow-Week. Some of which have been in the works since July, all of which will be in line with the guidelines set by the Illinois Department of Public Health. We also spread these celebrations out over the course of the week to keep people...
So, I didn't want to play too much of that for you guys there. She goes on to say that she doesn't want you to call Halloween anymore. It's now Hallow-Week. And I kid you not, you can find that video. It's on my Facebook wall, and it's right there on my Facebook wall, and it's out there. You can probably just type it in. So she wants people, you can't make this up. She wants people to they have a picture. I'm going to show this to you. This is on Twitter. Give me a second as I go pull this up on Twitter. But I'll explain to you what she wants people to do. She wants people, I kid you not, to use a poll. Okay, she wants people to use a poll for, I'm going to show you guys this crazy picture. Oh no, I don't have it. I don't have the picture. I will find the picture for you, hopefully before this broadcast ends, if I can. But there's a picture on Twitter of literally a pole, a 6-foot pole, like a hollow thing that you could just shoot the candy through that. I can't believe I don't have that picture. I thought I put that in my slides, and I didn't. Bummer. I'm so pissed off about that. But you can't make this stuff up. It is just too wild, bizarre craziness. I can't fathom how on earth this is even possible. I'm gonna see if I put it in my photos, if I could somehow add it to the comments. No, I didn't grab that picture. I thought I had. Anyway, that was Mayor Lightfoot. She wants to not call it Halloween. They're gonna call it Hallow-Week. And they've got all these rules. But the craziest thing about this is that was a press conference of the mayor of Chicago. And she's dressed in this bizarre costume with a Clorox thing and the Rona killer. And you know what it does for me is it says this is so orchestrated. It's almost theatrical. And who's sitting there planning this? This is my biggest question. Who is actually planning this? I don't understand where they come up with these kinds of ideas. So the next video that I want to show you, this is a video of Dr. Fauci that I want to show you. Now, the reason I want to show you this is because a lot of people say that this is going away. It's going to end. You just, cooperate and you do this and it's going to end. My thoughts on this, my opinion on this, based on the evidence that I've been reading, is this is not going to end unless we make it end. It's just going to only get more weird and more bizarre, and there's just going to be way more fear-mongering and way more weird mandates, because they're not laws, guys. Great news coming out of Michigan that I'll get into later about the Michigan Supreme Court striking down Governor Whittemer's executive orders. But before I get to that, I wanted to share this video with you of Dr. Fauci talking about when maybe we'll go back to normal. Okay, let's take a look at this. So let me pull you in. Let me get this. Sorry about that, guys. Live in real time here. I just want to share that screen with you. Here we go. Here we go. There he is, the man of the hour, Dr. Fauci himself. Let me just get in here. I'm going to play this for you.
When we get to April, we likely will have doses to be able to vaccinate anybody who needs to be vaccinated. But logistically, by the time you get everybody vaccinated, it likely will not be until the third or even the beginning of the fourth quarter of 2021. But it's not going to eliminate things like mask wearing and avoiding crowds and things like that. So I think we can approach normality, but I don't think we're going to be back to normal until the end of 2021. And we may do better than that. I hope so, but I don't think so.
So that was Dr. Fauci. And, you know, it's just like, I don't have no words, because there is no end in sight for this, guys. First of all, if you've been following what's been going on with the vaccines, it's pretty scary, okay? They've been having some bad reactions with these vaccines, and AstraZeneca had to stop their trials for a bit, or the Oxford vaccine. I think Oxford and AstraZeneca are like the same. Bill Gates is behind all of it, okay? The Nation wrote a wonderful article that I gotta do a video on, but I'm not doing a video on that today. But check out the article on Bill Gates in the Nation. The Nation did a fabulous job, real journalism there. So happy to see the Nation putting that article out there on Bill Gates and where the money is. And he won't answer questions from real journalists who are asking him hard questions, not like fluff questions, like, when do you think a vaccine will be ready? And, well, how do you think we go back to normal? Like, who's Bill Gates, and why does anyone care what he thinks? He's not an elected official. He's not a doctor. He's not a scientist. Bill Gates is just a really wealthy guy. And Fauci is his henchman. Okay, Fauci is heavily financed by projects that Bill Gates is financing, Moderna, and all the stuff that's coming through, like grants and stuff. And there's an article coming out about Fauci's emails and gain of function out of the Children's Health Defense. Let me see if I can find this article for you that I posted earlier today on Facebook. So this was from the Children's Health Defense, if I can find that. I'm on Twitter right now, so bear with me as I pull back up Facebook. So Children's Health Defense came out with a really powerful article today that was pretty heavy duty. Let me see if I could pull that up quickly enough for you guys just to see that. Bear with me here. I just should have had that pulled up sooner. But here it is. All right, so I'm going to share this screen with you. Hold on a second as I do that. And where are we? Here we are, share screen. So let me just get that here. And this is the article. This was out of Children's Health Defense. And this is, oh no, I'm sorry, that's the Sackler article. So that's the wrong article. Bummer. All right, anyway, this is a terrible article about the Sackler people. And I thought I had put that up there on my wall to share with you guys, but I'm making so many mistakes today. Bear with me, live in real time. That was an article. Let me pull you guys back into that because it is relevant and it is important. Check out the Children's Health Defense for the article that's talking about Fauci and Wuhan, China. This particular article that I shared earlier was on the Sackler family, which is a big deal here in Connecticut. Let me just pull this up for you guys so you take a quick peek at it. Wasn't the original article that I was intending to share with you, but maybe it'll take me directly to Children's Health Defense, which would be cool. And I can easily find that article for you. So this is about the Sackler family. Let me see if I can find the Anthony Fauci article and the Wuhan connection there. So Anthony Fauci recently... Let me see here. Okay, hold on a second. So Anthony Fauci recently had a FOIA, and Children's Health Defense did Children's Health Defense did an article on it. Let me see if I can find a better search of that. I'm getting all this Fauci stuff. So Children's Health Defense did an article on it, and let me see. And it was talking about gain of function. If you guys aren't familiar with gain of function, I really suggest that you check out what's going on with, oh gosh, you know something? Unfortunately, I'm batting 1,000 today. So let me backtrack it back a little bit. So that article is in the Children's Health Defense. Let me stick with the slides that I know I absolutely have in my system and bring us back into Connecticut for a minute. So Connecticut had a very important hearing this week for the Connecticut mask lawsuit. And basically what happened was nothing was, the state has a case to dismiss, or a motion, I'm sorry, not a case. The state of Connecticut, the district attorney, Cunningham, has a motion to dismiss. And the Connecticut Freedom Alliance, the attorneys for the Connecticut Freedom Alliance, have a motion to put an injunction on the masking of children, so that it's an emergency and that the judge could rule on this. So last week, the judge ordered that the 2 experts that Connecticut Freedom Alliance had brought in were disqualified. Great experts, but they were disqualified, unfortunately. So the Connecticut Freedom Alliance is getting new experts, and one of the issues that's really hard for the Connecticut Freedom Alliance right now, getting experts, and people in the medical community are worried about, people in the medical community are generally concerned about their, being, punished for coming out against things like mask mandates and vaccines and things like that. So we're hopeful that they will get another couple of experts to come in. So I think the judge seems pretty fair, and the case is still proceeding, and we're going to know more on Wednesday. There's another hearing on Wednesday, and that's going to be in the afternoon. It's at 2:00 in the afternoon Wednesday, where the Connecticut Freedom Alliance will be able to present those witnesses in the state of Connecticut. Will be able to present their own witnesses, and they'll see if those witnesses qualify. They do a thorough background check, like just to look at them. They call it a CV, which is like a resume. And so nothing has been thrown out. The case is still proceeding. It's you can visit Connecticut Freedom Alliance, and you can go hit their donate button and help them out with these legal fees that are definitely very heavy duty for them. So that is the case happening right now. Tomorrow I'm going to be live with David Steele. Did I get that right? David Steele. His last name is Steele. I believe it's Dave Steele. But anyway, his last name is Steele. I'm batting 1,000 today. But I'm going to be live with him tomorrow. He's going to be talking about more stuff that's going on in Connecticut as well, with lawsuits and things like that. So I'm kind of going into the lawsuit thing because I want to talk about Michigan. Michigan just had a huge thing happen. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this or not, but it's really pretty incredible. So I just want to pull this up. This is the Michigan Supreme Court. And I actually have this slide in here. So this is the Michigan Supreme Court ruling, and this is just really intense. So what happened is that it was unanimous decision for the Supreme Court in Michigan to strike down Governor Whitmer's orders as unconstitutional, and the district attorney is no longer going to enforce these orders. So this article here, it says, Attorney General Dana Nessel will no longer enforce Governor Gretchen Whitmer's executive orders after the Michigan Supreme Court ruled Friday that one of the laws underpinning the orders was unconstitutional. That was a unanimous decision by the Supreme Court in Michigan. Very, very interesting how that happened. Pennsylvania, also the same thing. So as more states fight back in the judicial system, I mean, we have 3 branches of government for a reason. And here's a particular time where you absolutely have to have these 3 branches of government because things are getting out of control, where you have governors making these orders and putting these mandates together, like our governor here in Connecticut. And I want to share with you guys some of the aspects of what's going on with the masks on our children. Currently, and this just happened September 21st, where 3-year-olds in the state of Connecticut are now mandated, 3-year-olds are now mandated to wear masks in the state of Connecticut. 3-year-old children. And so if you look at the executive order, it's like out of George Orwell's playbook, how they're going to get the children used to it in a period of time to get them used to wearing their masks. But I wanted to share something with you guys. I have this slide here I want to pull up. This is what the Education Department of Connecticut guidelines are. And here's one of the more disturbing aspects of what's in the Connecticut Education Department's guidelines. It's given to schools. I'm going to share this with you. Here this is. So what I found to be so disturbing about this is that here we go. I'm just going to read it to you. As mentioned previously, the need for every individual inside a school building to be wearing a face mask or face covering to likely be reality for operation of school buildings for the foreseeable future. That this is likely to be a reality for this foreseeable future. This isn't going away, guys. They're not planning on getting rid of it. It's only going to get worse and more bizarre if the people don't stand up and say, hey, wait a minute. Everybody, and I want to put this into perspective here because I have lots of friends who are, they get upset. They really believe that they need the mask. And they get upset with me because I'm always complaining about the mask. Why are you so upset about masks? Why do you care if people wear masks? Well, I don't care if you wear a mask. That's fine. I'm not going to question you on what you want to do with your body. That's your business. My biggest problem with it is the mandates. My biggest problem with masks are mask mandates. People who make problems for others because they're not wearing a mask, like snitching on someone. I've literally had in a situation where I'm in a grocery store and this man starts calling me names. Totally unacceptable. I had another situation in another store where this guy started yelling at me about that I'm gonna make him sick, and it gets over the top. It's over the top. Like, I don't understand what's gotten into people where strangers can come up to you and feel that they have a right to call you names or be angry at you or call you selfish or how dare you not wear a mask. You're spreading disease, and that's a very disturbing trend that we're seeing. We're not going to spread a disease around by not wearing a mask. I mean, it's just not going to happen. There's been countless randomized controlled studies on masks, and none of those randomized controlled studies show any statistical significance for wearing a mask to protect against viruses, okay? When we think about the world and microbiology, when I was... years ago, a friend of mine had a book about like the creatures that live all over the place, within and on us. And it was such a freaky book because it had these microscopic pictures of like, close-ups of the human skin, pictures of like surfaces, pictures of like pillows and stuff. And there's like, it looks like dinosaurs. Like there's all these like little creatures, little bacteria and little things. So with a virus is like a micron. It's tiny. It's tiny. A mask isn't stopping it from going through. People say droplets. Oh, it's stopping you from spreading your spit. Okay. Before 2020, did you go out into the world like you do? Did you just go out into the world? Was there flu? Were there rotaviruses and all kinds of different things that we can catch, that we get, it's part of living, the point being is there are viruses and bacteria all the time, every day, all around us. And I really want to pull up that Children's Health Defense, so I'm going to try and do that while I'm talking to you guys, because I'm so bummed that I didn't have this article, because it's so important. So with the Children's Health Defense, wonderful organization. If you're not following the Children's Health Defense, I really suggest that you do. It's a great, it's an absolutely great organization that's been a champion for medical freedom. And this is what really is just so important. And I'm just looking for this here. This is Here, I'm going to pull up this article. I'm not sure if this is the one that brings up the gain of function, but let me share the screen here. So this is the Children's Health Defense. And this article I was looking at this morning. You guys share that screen? This article I was looking at this morning. This is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And they have awarded, they're spending money like absolute crazy. Okay, so the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation award, let's see if I can blow that up if you guys can like see that a little bit better. So they're big into agriculture, medicine, and even climate stuff. Bill Gates is into everything. So the faith leaders in Africa posted an open letter to the Gates Foundation asking to reassess its grant-making strategies for Africa. While we're grateful to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for its commitment for overcoming food insecurity and acknowledging humanitarian and structural aid provided to the governments of our content, we write out of a grave concern that the Gates Foundation's support for the expansion of intensive industrial-scale agriculture is depleting the human crisis, says the sign on the letter coordinated by the South African faith communities. And so the letter cites the Gates-led Alliance for the Green Revolution for its highly problematic support of commercial seed systems controlled by large companies, its support of restructuring the seed law to protect certified seeds and criminalize non-certified seeds. And this is like a playbook out of, who does this sound familiar? What practice does this sound familiar? Oh, is that the practice of Monsanto, which Bill Gates was heavily invested in? Absolutely. Bill Gates' money is everywhere when you start to follow the money. And it's just absolutely insane what money does for people in the world today, just globally. Bill Gates is just everywhere with all of this. And that was unfortunately not the Wuhan. I want to find the Wuhan Fauci. I'm so sorry that I thought I put that in here. Fauci emails. Let me see if I can find that, because that was a really powerful article. And so, so it's just like, wow, how, okay, so that's unfortunately, no, that's the wrong thing. All right, I'm going to probably have to come back and do another live just specifically on that, because I did not bring that into my notes today, and I'm really sorry about that. It's so frustrating. I thought that I saw that article in the Children's Health Defense, and it's not, I'm not seeing it show up there right now. So let me just try one more time. Fauci, where are you? So there was an email where what was coming out was the gain of function. And what gain of function is, okay, here it is. Perfect, got it. So glad that happened. Yay. Okay, so here I'm going to share the screen with you guys. Here we go. So this article, you guys, is it there? There we go. So here we go. This is the U.S. government's $3.7 million grant to Wuhan lab at center of coronavirus outbreak. Okay, so this is really important here. So this is an older article on that, but there's stuff coming out where Fauci's been FOIA'd, and I think they're having difficulty with getting the FOIA out. Let me see if I could just get this up here. The Daily Mail reported that his uncovered documents showing that Dr. Anthony Fauci's National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease gave $3.7 million to scientists at Wuhan lab at the center of the coronavirus leak scrutiny. According to the British paper, the federal grant funded experiments on bats from the caves where the virus is believed to have originated. Okay, so here is what is really disturbing. And if you guys aren't familiar with this, please get yourself familiar with it. Oops, now I think I've clicked on that. It's taking me to it. Gain of function. Is this taking me to the gain of function page? Is it, my computer's running so slowly. So yes, this is taking me to the gain of function page. Gain of function. Let me blow this up for you guys. The gain of function is a certain gain of function studies with the potential to enhance the pathogenicity. Did I get that right? Or transmissibility of potential pandemic pathogens have raised biosafety and biosecurity concerns, including the potential dual-use risk associated with the misuse of information or products resulting from such research. On October 16th, 2014, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy announced the launch of the U.S. government's USG, gain of function deliberative process to reevaluate the potential risk and benefits associated with certain gain of function experiments During this process, the USG paused the release of federal funding for gain-of-function studies anticipated to enhance the pathogenicity or transmissibility among mammals by respiratory droplets of influenza, MERS, or SARS viruses. The NSABB served as the official federal advisory body of the gain-of-function issue and was tasked with providing recommendations to the USG on conceptual approach for evaluating proposed gain-of-function research. The NSABB finalized the recommendation on May 24th, 2016. The U.S. government considered the NSABB's findings and recommendations during the development of policy on gain-of-function research. In January 2017, the U.S. government released policy guidance for review and oversight of research anticipated to create transfers or use enhanced PPPs. That is just wild, guys. And this is back to Children's Health Defense. Now, this was an older article in April 15th, 2020. The reason I'm bringing it up is there's some stuff going on around Dr. Anthony Fauci. But let me just read to you just a little bit. Following the 2002 to 2003 SARS coronavirus outbreak, and hopefully you guys are able to see this too. Let me see if I can just blow this up a little bit for you guys. Am I not? Yeah, here we go. Just trying to blow that up so you guys can hopefully read that. Okay, so following the 2002-2003 SARS coronavirus outbreak, NIH funded a collaboration Chinese scientists, U.S. military virologists from the bioweapons lab at Fort Detrick, and National Institutes of Health scientists from NIAID, Anthony Fauci's department, there he is, it's for infectious and allergic diseases, that's the acronym for that, to prevent future coronavirus outbreaks by studying the evolution of virulent strains from bats and human tissues. Those efforts included gain-of-function research, which is accelerated viral evolution to create COVID pandemic superbugs, enhanced bat-borne COVID mutants, more lethal and more transmissible than wild COVID. These researchers risk creating a monster germ that could escape the lab and seed a pandemic. Fauci's studies alarmed scientists around the globe who complained, according to the December 2017 New York Times article, that researchers risk creating a monster germ that could escape the lab and seed a pandemic. Dr. Mark Lipstitch of the Harvard School of Public Health's Communicable Disease Center told the Times that Dr. Fauci's NIAID experiments have given us some modest scientific knowledge and done almost nothing to improve our preparedness for the pandemic, and yet risk creating an accidental pandemic. So you guys can go to the Children's Health Defense and check out that article. That was back in April. There is a FOIA on Fauci right now where they're trying to get information. And this is very, very serious, guys. Extremely serious that this gain of function and where exactly this virus originated from, what the Fauci's involvement was in it, and all the relationship to Fauci's relationship to Moderna, how he will financially benefit from the vaccine, how all of these billionaires have benefited. If you see the list of who benefited from the COVID-19 shutdowns and all that, and of trillions of dollars in transfer, the biggest transfer of wealth in United States history happened during COVID, going to the wealthiest percentage of society. It's unbelievable, unreal, absolutely disturbing and tragic, quite honestly. And meanwhile, we're here with this kind of stuff as our reality. This, I mean, when does it become enough? When does it become enough? When do we get to the point where we can have this in all the states around the country? So Michigan Supreme Court unanimously struck down their governor, Gretchen Whitmer's coronavirus executive orders as unconstitutional. Here in Connecticut, nothing like that is happening. We do have a lawsuit that the Connecticut Freedom Alliance has followed, and I'm going to be live tomorrow. I'm going to get you exactly his name, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Dan Reel. Sorry, I was calling him David Reel. With Dan Reel, and he's going to talk with me about some lawsuits that have been happening in Connecticut that he's been a part of. He's also running on the Libertarian ticket for representative, state representative. So I'll be live with him tomorrow at 11 a.m. to get into talking about more of what's happening in the legal aspects of lawsuits happening here in Connecticut. And we've got the Connecticut mass lawsuit that was brought by Connecticut Freedom Alliance, parents in the Connecticut Freedom Alliance whose children are being negatively affected by the mask mandate. That case is still proceeding. They will be in a hearing on Wednesday of next week at 2 p.m. There's a link that you guys can get access to. You can also make a donation, and I'll try to post that link. I'll definitely do a report on that. But 2 of the experts were disqualified, so the Connecticut Freedom Alliance is getting 2 other experts. Those experts were disqualified not because they have bad credentials. They had excellent credentials. They're just the one expert who was an ophthalmologist, so it's for the eyes, so that's why they disqualified him, but he was a peer reviewer. He was a publisher for medical journals, so that's a disappointment. And then Dr. Kloss, he is just very vocal and out there and has some really amazing scientific ideas and opinions. One of those being that the mainstream hasn't at all grasped yet. And it's like, you had Galileo. What did they do to him, right? So the concept that the other expert, Dr. Andrew Kloss, was, I guess, disqualified for, he's got some really cutting edge thoughts on viruses and what makes us sick. And it's the disease versus terrain. Really fascinating and interesting stuff. What makes you sick? Is it the disease? Is it the germ theory that it's germs that make you sick? Or is it the terrain? Is it your body? So, and it becomes more and more fascinating to me as I study this and read about it, that, how are you able to, deal with all the viruses and bacteria that you're constantly confronted with just living on the planet Earth? Because we live in a microbiological world. We don't live in a bubble. And so how do our bodies respond to the daily threats that we come encounter with all the time? Everywhere we go, we're running into germs and viruses all over the place all the time. And half the time, we're never even aware that we have ever come in contact with it. Our immune system has done such a wonderful job that we don't get sick. And then you come into that place where you do get sick, or a lot of people get sick, all in like one full swoop, what's going on, so it's really interesting, the terrain versus germ theory. So it's your terrain and your body, and how your body responds to it is a new concept. It's not really that new. It's been around for a while, but it hasn't been talked about in the mainstream medical paradigm at all. They don't even want to consider this, but it's very, very interesting, fascinating theories that, have me absolutely saying, wow, that's pretty wild. I still have lots of questions, so I definitely want to talk with more experts on this and get into a good conversation about, is it the germ or is it the terrain? So I think that pretty much sums it up. And so this is the strange world we're living in, guys. We got to stand up, because if we don't, this is going to take over. I want to say, hey, Brian. Brian just said hi. You know what? If you could post the link for the GoFundMe, that's, and we got to do a live soon, Brian. So the Connecticut Freedom Alliance, with that lawsuit, they definitely could use some donations to help that, because the way we're going to be able to regain our rights and protect our children right now, we have to utilize the judicial branch. We have to utilize the courts, because if we don't utilize the courts, we're not going to get anywhere. And this is huge for Michigan. This is just a wonderful, amazing ruling for the state of Michigan. I'm very happy for them. Now they've got some stuff they're still fighting. Their battle is not over at all. So we definitely are keeping an eye out on the state of Michigan. But here in Connecticut, there will be a hearing next Wednesday for the Connecticut mask lawsuit. And I will be live tomorrow with Dan Steele to talk more about lawsuits in Connecticut that are happening. And have a lively discussion with him at 11 a.m. So if you want to help support us, J. Terry Foundation, which, Facebook took off our donate button. I just put an inquiry into them because this is going to be my birthday. And it said, who do you want to donate to a charitable cause? I was like, well, we could raise some money for the J. Terry Foundation, which helps us to broadcast and do all kinds of things. Like I said, we're working on bringing in live music, which is a little more challenging in a streaming world because you want to get that audio just right. So you can visit us online at jterrypresents.com if you're feeling generous. I'm working on figuring out where our donate button on Facebook went because our page is not in any violation. So it's kind of strange. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that we were covering one of the biggest hearings in Connecticut's history, SB 5044, where the state of Connecticut was trying to repeal the religious exemption to vaccination. That's a whole nother story for another day, but that's the only thing I can think of why they took the donate button off. But yeah, Facebook is really getting heavy into censoring. Also, if you visit my website, jterrypresents.com, and if I were really good, I would have put an icon. I put a little graphic there for you guys, but I did put it in the description of this video, jterrypresents.com, where you can make a tax-deductible donation and support our work that we are doing, just covering the current events and what's happening in the state of Connecticut and bringing that to you guys here in the world of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. While we still can. So you can also subscribe to our mailing list and stay in touch. Lots of groups are getting kicked off of Facebook, and we lost our donate button. I don't know why, but I did reach out to Facebook to see what was going on. So just trying to get the information out there in the world here in the United States, where it's becoming more and more difficult to have access to all kinds of information. Shouldn't grown adults be able to make up their own mind? And all this whole fake news narrative is just really wild. I've got a whole nother video on all of that and the Sherman-Mundt Act as well, and propaganda in the United States. So that's for another time. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys soon. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. with Dan.